What if I told you that playing by the rules is the quickest way to become invisible, and maybe even a little bit expendable? No one ever says this out loud. Not your teachers, not your bosses, not even your friends who've learned to keep their mouths shut. But you've seen it, haven't you? The world has a habit of chewing up the gentle and spitting out the honest. You don't need to look far. The person who always shows up early and never asks for credit is quietly forgotten. The one who refuses to gossip becomes the odd one out. The woman who gives more than she takes finds herself surrounded by takers, her generosity mistaken for weakness, her boundaries blurred until there's nothing left to defend. Somewhere deep down, you've always sensed it. Virtue isn't rewarded. Not really. Not here. In the game of life, decency isn't a trump card. It's a mark, a scent, like fresh blood in the water. Why does this happen? Why do the voices of the bold drown out the whispers of the kind? Why does the cunning rise while the decent disappear? Is it some cosmic joke? Or is this the real architecture of power, a design that never cared for goodness in the first place? You've been fed a story since childhood. Goodness always wins. Truth will rise. The pure of heart will stand tall. But step outside the comfort of that fairy tale. Look at the cold, merciless machinery of the world. Do the honest really prevail? Or have you simply been taught to believe that because it keeps you quiet, predictable, and easy to control? There's a sickness in believing that the system is broken. What if instead it's working perfectly, just not for people like you? Pull the curtain back, and the truth is raw, unblinking. This world is not a playground for the pure of heart. It's an arena wired for those who dare to seize, not those who wait for fairness to find them. Power is its own language. It doesn't speak of justice or decency or compassion. It speaks of dominance, of seeing and opening and taking it, of recognizing weakness and pressing down until it breaks. The ones who thrive here, they aren't the gentle or the generous or the quietly competent. They're the ones who refuse to play by any rule but their own. They laugh louder, move faster, bend truth until it serves their ends. They aren't weighed down by conscience or distracted by the dream of a moral universe. Their loyalty is to survival, not virtue. This isn't a glitch in the system. This is the system. If you still believe that goodness has a secret shield, that somewhere, somehow, cosmic justice will even the score, you're not naive. You're a mark. So here's the riddle that keeps good people awake at night. Why do those who act with integrity seem to lose again and again? Is it because they're unwilling to play dirty, to step off the pedestal and into the mud? Or is it something more unsettling, a hardwired flaw in how humans value strength, leadership, and worth? Everywhere you look, the lesson is the same. The world devours the meek and crowns the bold. Empathy is praised in public, but in private it's dismissed as softness. Integrity is admired in speeches, but penalized in backrooms. This isn't about abandoning what you believe. It's about waking up. Because if you cling to a dream world, the real one will eat you alive. Let's call it what it is. The world doesn't punish goodness by accident. It needs people like you. Not as winners, as fuel. Your reliability. It's a resource to be drained. Your honesty, a mirror for others to avoid. Your kindness, a lever pulled again and again until it snaps. Look at any schoolyard, any boardroom, any family dinner table. Who gets noticed? Who gets ahead? Not the quiet ones, not the ones who refuse to play dirty. It's the disruptors, the loud and shameless, the masters of social chess. Society doesn't reward virtue, it exploits it. And when virtue runs dry, it quietly looks away, already hungry for the next source. We like to pretend it's different. We tell children to share, then turn around and glorify those who hoard. We teach honesty, but only if it's convenient. We praise vulnerability, but treat it as a weakness the moment someone dares to show it. Ask yourself, was the game ever fair, or did you just fall for the script because it sounded comforting? In reality, the machinery of power is simple and merciless. Good people lose not because they are wrong, but because they refuse to trade their soul for a seat at the table. They operate on a code that the world only respects in theory, never in practice. And here's the knife twist. Society doesn't fear the righteous. It studies them, maps their boundaries, and turns their predictability into an advantage. Your empathy is a blueprint, your silence an open door. So when you ask, why do the good so often lose? Look at the way the game is rigged, not broken, deliberately, elegantly fixed. To really see how deep this goes, you have to stare into the human mind itself. We aren't just talking about rules and politics. We're talking about instincts, ancient, stubborn, unspoken. Carl Jung called it the shadow, the side of ourselves we bury, hide, pretend isn't there. Not just individual shadows, but a collective one, a society-wide blind spot. And do you know what hides there? A secret disdain for the truly good. Because real goodness, genuine integrity, uncompromising kindness does something dangerous. It holds up a mirror. It forces everyone else to see the cracks in their own facade, the small betrayals and easy shortcuts they'd rather forget. No one wants to be exposed, so the pure become targets not for what they've done, but for what they reveal. Nietzsche saw it differently. To him, most morality wasn't born from strength, but from weakness, a clever disguise for envy and powerlessness. In the modern world, the tables have turned. Power now wears the mask of virtue. Kindness is performed, morality is marketed, and those who truly live by a code, quiet, unwavering, real, make the performers uncomfortable. Why? Because authenticity can't be bought or staged. It threatens the entire masquerade. We are hardwired to respect dominance, not humility. That's why the reflective, the gentle, the inward-looking are often treated not as leaders but as prey. It's not just culture, it's biology. So if you feel isolated, misunderstood, even punished for doing what's right, understand this. Your existence unsettles the system. You force the world to see itself. And the world most days would rather smash the mirror than change the reflection. Let's put a face to this truth. Picture a man named Thomas, an unremarkable name for a life that never sought the spotlight. A teacher in a small town. Thomas showed up early, stayed late, never played favorites, never cut corners. He taught not just lessons, but values quietly, day after day, asking for nothing. He refused to flatter those above him. He kept out of the office politics, stayed silent when the gossip poisoned the break room air. Year after year, he was passed over for promotion, ridiculed gently, almost kindly, for being too soft, too idealistic, not tough enough for the real world. Still, Thomas never bent. One day, scandal erupted. The popular teacher, the one who schmoozed, cut deals, always played to the crowd, was caught manipulating grades. For a brief moment, the light shone on Thomas's integrity. People remembered him, praised him, called him a rare breed, and just as quickly the moment faded. Why? Because, deep down, most people didn't want the quiet reminder of what they ought to be. They wanted to feel good about what they already were. Thomas, he kept teaching, faded back into the background, a ghost in a world built for noise, not depth. This isn't just Thomas's story. It's the modern myth of how society treats goodness. The honest are labeled naïve. The kind are dismissed as weak. The moral are ignored as irrelevant. But these people, they're the last defense against a world that's forgotten how to honor what matters. And the world, it doesn't thank them. It wears them down. Here's the brutal secret no one ever admits. Good people don't just lose. Because others play dirty, they lose because the world resents being reminded of its own rot. Kindness isn't just ignored. It's seen as an accusation. Every time you refuse to cheat, to manipulate, to cut corners, you break the silent pact that keeps society running. The pact that says, we'll pretend this is normal as long as you play along. But the moment you step out of line, the mask slips. You become the mirror everyone avoids, not for your flaws, but for your refusal to hide them. You thought integrity would make you respected. Instead, it isolates you. People claim to want honesty, empathy, morality. But in reality, those things make them squirm. Your standards make their shortcuts look shabby. Your discipline makes their self-indulgence feel cheap. Your truth makes their lies shine under the fluorescent light. So rather than honor you, they label you too much, too sensitive, too different. You're not difficult. You're just inconvenient for a system that rewards those who never ask hard questions. That's the quiet cruelty of this world. It doesn't just crush the wicked. It wears down the very few brave enough to stand for what's right. Nietzsche said, "He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. But what if your why, your own moral compass, is what sets you apart, makes you lonely, and costs you every easy victory?" Here's the twist. The higher you climb in integrity, the thinner the air, the fewer the companions. And in that isolation, something changes. You stop waiting for applause. You stop expecting reward. Instead, you find a brutal kind of clarity, the kind that owes nothing to anyone, the kind that simply endures. That in itself might be the only real victory left to keep walking your path, whether the world notices or not. It's tempting to search for comfort, a shortcut, a formula, a silver bullet that will finally make the world recognize and reward the good. But that's the last illusion you must let die. No secret wisdom can make society suddenly value what it's programmed to exploit. No amount of suffering will turn the machinery kind. This isn't a story that ends in easy hope or motivational cheer. This is a demand to see things clearly. Society is engineered to favor what is easy, what is flashy, what fits in. It pays lip service to courage, but it rewards compliance. It praises honesty, but it follows charisma. It teaches us to admire integrity while making sure only a few ever dare to live it. The path of the principled is paved with loneliness, rejection, and the sharp edge of misunderstanding. You will be overlooked, sidelined, sometimes even scorned. But if you stop chasing validation, if you let go of the hunger for recognition, something in you shifts. You reclaim the right to define your own worth. You find the freedom to act not for applause, but because it's who you are. As Jung warned, the greatest tragedy is to live without awareness, trapped in illusions that numb the soul. So here's your invitation. Awaken? Stop waiting for a world built on comfort to hand you meaning or respect. See the ugliness for what it is, and let it sharpen you. Because real freedom never comes from the outside. It's forged in your own refusal to break. And in that refusal, quiet, uncelebrated, unshakable, you find something the world cannot give or take away, a sense of self that endures, a resilience that cannot be bought or taught, a light that outlasts every shadow. So what's left when the applause fades and the crowds move on? You stand at the crossroads, stripped of illusions, facing a truth both bitter and liberating. This world is not gentle, not even particularly interested in who you are or what you believe. It is neither cruel nor kind by design, it is simply indifferent. Its machinery grinds on rewarding noise over substance spectacle, over substance certainty, over depth. And yet in that emptiness you are offered a question sharper than any comfort. What price will you pay for your own truth? Will you chase the ease of blending and trading pieces of yourself for a place in the herd? Or will you walk alone, carrying the weight of your convictions through storms that would break lesser souls? There is no right answer. But there is a kind of victory that can't be measured by trophies or followers. To be authentic, even if it costs you everything, is to carve out a sliver of meaning in a world built to swallow you whole. In the end, the world may never understand you. But do you understand yourself well enough to remain unbroken, to keep your fire burning when no one is watching? That's the freedom Machiavelli never promised but always hinted at, a wild, solitary liberty found only on the edge, where the honest dare to walk, and where the world in all its noise and indifference finally loses its power to bend you. If any part of this spoke to you, let me hear your truth in the comments. What's your story? Where have you seen the cost of being good, either in yourself or in someone you know? Drop your rawest thought below. I read every single one, and if you believe these conversations matter, show it with like it's a small act, but it tells the platform these truths deserve to be heard. Don't forget to hit follow, so you never walk this road alone, and so we can keep building a community where honesty actually means something. Your voice, your presence, and your support, they're what keep this channel alive. Stay real,